Natalie, what were you thinking? Oh my gosh. Isn't that what it's all about? Life is too short to not eat off of the good china.
A palace of gold, gold, gold. A palace of gold, 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 gold.
Well, hey friends, so glad you stopped by to hang out with me today while I declutter my kitchen for the new year. I want to give it a fresh start. This is another messy to minimal episode, which, can you believe it? I started this extreme decluttering and organization series 3 years ago today. And so I thought it would be fun, in honor of that, to actually take a look back at my very first messy to minimal episode where I started in the kitchen. We were in our old house, and I'm gonna take a look at that video, react to it with you guys, and then I'll bring you along with me as we do some decluttering in this current kitchen that we have now 3 years later. I think this is gonna be fun. I've really been looking forward to filming this video for you guys, so if you enjoy it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, drop this emoji in the comments, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Natalie, and I love making videos about cozy, simple living, and if you're looking for some encouragement or some gentle homemaking motivation, then you're in the right place. I hope you subscribe. Let's head over to the kitchen table. I've got my laptop over there with the video queued up. It's been a while and I'm really eager to take a look. Let's go do that. Okay, pressing play now on this epic kitchen declutter with me, messy to minimal episode 1 from January 2020. And man, I love the song. I love that I've been able to keep the same song since the first episode. Oh, look at that. Everything, and then hopefully say goodbye to a lot of junk that I just simply don't need anymore. Okay, there we go. The verbiage that I'm using here indicates to me, it might not indicate to someone else, but to me, knowing myself, knowing Natalie, I was not confident in my ability to pull this off. I love the way this kitchen cart slash espresso coffee station turned out. Okay, so this kitchen cart, oh man, I wish I could go back and tell myself, like, don't even try with this thing. I, in this video, said I love the way this turned out, but that was in the moment. Later on, it became so clear that it was such an obstruction in that tiny kitchen. I think it was like $250 or something to buy this cart. We had to spend at least $15 per basket to have like the hidden storage basket drawer sort of situation on this cart, which ended up being a total nightmare. It took so long for me to like grasp the concept of declutter first. Go through your stuff first, and then get yourself organizing solutions, storage solutions, etc., when you've really established what that inventory looks like. If I had gone into the other cabinets of the home, into the other spaces, and started to take down the inventory of the extra food storage containers we had, small appliances that we were storing and never using, crystal goblets that we never ever used, that were just collecting dust, taking up a ton of room in the cabinet, I could have freed up so much space to store those things that I was using the bar cart for. I just had a lot of learning to do. I don't like keeping appliances on my countertop. It just, I don't know, for some reason it just makes everything look so cluttered. Even before I started this decluttering journey or learning more about minimalism, I already hated having small appliances on my countertop. So that was something that I was already sort of like doing. Moving on, I declutter out a cabinet that has like spices and stuff in it. The spice cabinet has been like the Achilles heel of any kitchen I've ever lived in, and we're gonna work on my spice cabinet in this current kitchen in this video today as well. Working up under the sink in here, I was storing so many cleaning products that were like duplicates and extras. Oh my gosh, that silverware drawer. Oh, and everything underneath the silverware organizer. Wow. Okay, this Joseph & Joseph brand silverware organizer that I swapped out in here was such a bad product for me. It did not work at all. I was so excited at the end of this video that I had put this together, and I'm letting myself have that excitement. I'm not criticizing or scrutinizing myself and who I was back then. I'm not here to roast myself, because we are all on a different stage of our journey. And that's how I believe I can come from a really non-judgmental sort of point of view, because I feel like I've kind of been through it all when it comes to decluttering and learning about minimalism. And watching this video just reinforces that. Why was I putting the baking dish on the floor? Okay, if there's anything to criticize, it's that. Natalie, what were you thinking? Oh my gosh. I had double the plates and forks and knives and spoons that I ultimately needed, but at that point in time, I was not yet to the point where I thought it was safe for me to let those things go. And that's totally okay. It's kind of like this onion concept where each pass that I took through the kitchen, and you can watch through this whole series, and how I started to peel back layer after layer after layer to discover what was best for our family. So, man, this pile of stuff that I ended up taking out is just insane. I don't see piles like that coming out of my kitchen anymore when I do declutter. So spoiler alert, you're not gonna see something like that at the end of this video when we declutter our current kitchen. Dang, so many small appliances, gadgets, gizmos, pots and pans, duplicates, cleaning products, so many things. It's just crazy, but it's all progress. And my mantra for 2023 is progress over perfection. And that mantra is what I'm going to keep in mind as I get up now to do some decluttering in our current kitchen. I have so much more I could say about that video, and actually I'm going to continue to react to that video and to share some thoughts with you guys as I work through decluttering the kitchen now. I'm gonna go category by category and try to follow the order of what I did in that video, just so that we can continue to have sort of a side-by-side, take a look at what it was like back then versus what we're dealing with right now. So if you have any decluttering to do, it doesn't have to be your entire kitchen, and maybe it's just a kitchen drawer. Why don't you get on up and we'll do some decluttering together. So in that video, I started with my kitchen cart little coffee espresso stand. It looks a bit different in this kitchen currently, but I do have a spot for like our coffee and stuff like that. So that's where we're gonna start. Same old espresso machine that I had 3 years ago. Same daily sort of mess that we make with our like supplements, coffee beans, random like drink making ingredients. This definitely needs some decluttering and sprucing up. Okay, this looks so much better. And no, it's not Pinterest worthy, but that's not really how I operate. I put the things in the spot that I access them. It might seem kind of silly to some people to put like supplements and stuff in a cabinet by your coffee maker, but that is how Weston and I, with ADHD brains, remember to take care of our bodies with the supplements that we take and the vitamins and stuff. So I have sort of like this wellness shelf, and then this is sort of the drink shelf. I've got coffee making supplies on this side, non-coffee making drink supplies on this side. Sometimes I make like non-alcoholic cocktails and stuff like that. So I've got that sort of supplies over there. And you know what? I'm realizing these days with what our decluttering looks like in this stage of life, 3 years down the road of kind of starting out this journey, it's that most of the time we are decluttering empty packaging of consumables. So this is stuff that we've completely made our way through. I need to order some more whole bean coffee from Thrive Market. This is the best. Canister of cocoa that we use during the holiday season, that's completely empty. We banged the barrel and everything is out. And then another category of stuff that we declutter nowadays is when we've made an upgrade to something. So I recently learned that one of the little appliances that I was using actually tested positive for high levels of lead. So I upgraded to a version that didn't contain that, which means it's time to say goodbye to the old version. I'm making swaps, swapping out a better version of something that works for us in this stage from the thing that we have had for years figures that needs to go. In that kitchen cart that I decluttered in the first video, I was dealing with like food storage, and then that odd baking pan that I tucked underneath, like in contact with the floor. I still don't know what I was thinking with that. I'm sure I had some excuse or some reason to justify it, and that's okay. This is currently where we keep our food storage, and honestly, I think we're not using everything that's in here. This is literally half of the collection that we had in our old house. I want to keep the one large one here. And then I think I'm gonna keep 2 of the medium, 2 of the small, which means 1 of the medium is gonna go. And this is something different than what you saw in that video. I have since learned that storing the lids literally on top of, like connected to their bottoms, helps so much. And then down here, I have some baking pans. I hardly ever use this loaf pan anymore, so I think I'm gonna say goodbye to that. These 3 serve me. They're in my collection for a reason, but I can say goodbye to this one. Moving on, this is actually apparently the most replayed part of this video. I'm working on my spice cabinet and my cooking utensils. Like I said earlier, the spice cabinet is sort of the Achilles heel of my kitchen, but rather than letting myself be continually frustrated about it, I've sort of taken a different mindset, and I have, instead of letting this get out of hand and waiting weeks or months to take care of it, this is actually part of my weekly chores that I do, is rearranging and sprucing up and doing a quick little edit of our spice cabinet. So let's do that now. It's time. It's the day of the week when I normally do this. Doing this weekly is also a really great way for me to see what needs to be added to my grocery list. So I need more ranch powder and I need more chicken bouillon. I can add that to my list and be on my merry way, and at the end of the day, have a spice cabinet that's a little bit more functional. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm all about that. What?
You're gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, it's just a saying. It means like I'm gonna get 2 things done by only doing 1 thing, but that's just a figure of speech. I'm not actually killing birds. Don't worry, Judah. And then I will say this shelf up here actually stays a lot more tidy, because it's Weston's sort of like barbecuing shelf that he has all of his rubs and stuff. And then we do keep some like peanut butter. And I think my honey is supposed to go up here, wherever it is. He usually does a pretty good job of keeping things tidy. The everyday one that I access, when I say messy to minimal, I really mean it. I am quite the messy person. And back when I was first making that video, and I can hear with like, especially what I said in the beginning of that video, I was actually really embarrassed of that. Back then I thought, you know, if I'm a mommy YouTuber, I'm somehow expected to look a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, have my house look a certain way. I was kind of too embarrassed to do cleaning videos because my house didn't look like the befores of the other mommy YouTuber cleaning videos I was watching, where it basically looked clean already and they were just cleaning an already clean room. I've never been a tidy person. I've never been a clean person. I've just been really good at hiding stuff. And now I have so much less stuff to hide and so much less anxiety as a result. So fellow messy persons, unite. And that's why I have learned in this season of life, get it? It takes me weekly maintenance declutters to manage my seasoning. It's not that funny. Okay, on to the cooking utensils. So this is my little crock that I keep of the different spoons that I have. I've had some of these for years and years. And I actually grab like little spoons. I love little wooden spoons and stuff like this. It's so nice to have like the old-fashioned style. I find these at thrift stores all the time and I love them. I really like my collection that I have now. I see, oh, look at that. A child chewed on my spatula. I actually have another spatula that I like better that doesn't belong in this drawer, that I'll just pop in here. I can do away with this. And no, I do not donate broken, chewed on, or dysfunctional items, but it's all going into the same pile and I'll sort it out from there. Much better, and the majority of what I found that was just out of place in that drawer was stuff that actually makes sense to go in there. However, this actually belongs in our serveware for when we have guests over. On to decluttering the knife drawer, which in the old house was a knife block. I didn't like having it out on my counter, especially with kids running around. So when I designed this kitchen, I specifically wanted to have a drawer that I can store my knives in. That's what we've got, but it gets disheveled just like anything else. So I'm gonna go do a little tidy up and a declutter. There are 2 knives in our collection that, man, I just never reach for. This tiny little paring knife, it's actually missing the tip on it. It just kind of sits there rolling around. And then this one, it's kind of like a smaller version of a chef's knife. I don't use that one either. So those can go. Just gonna put our little pizza cutter in there. I also keep a lighter and a Sharpie in this drawer in lieu of having a junk drawer. That's one of the things that we completely eliminated in our home since simplifying is having a junk drawer. But if we did have one, that's where that sort of thing would go. So it goes in there for now with any of the other dangerous stuff that we don't want the kids to touch. And believe me, when you have small children, Sharpies are very dangerous. Okay, this is the pile that we're working with. Nothing to sneeze at. They kind of got a good pile going on here. And I've only been working for 10 minutes. But the question is, what are we working on next? Let's see, I did knives, and then I did bakeware, like pots and pans and stuff like that. Let's take a look at my pots and pans drawer. There might be 1 or 2 things in there that I can declutter out. Let's see. Okay, here is our pots and pans cabinet right next to the stove. We had this little thing installed. This is where all of our pots and pans are. We love Hexclad. This is just the best brand. We've had it for years and years. But this smaller frying pan is one that we have not used since, I don't know if you can read that, September of 2022. Some people use the whole like quarantine bin. I think Dawn from the Minimal Mom calls it a time will tell bin. Or like a timeout bin. I kind of use a time in system where I will recognize something that I think might not be being utilized by either me or the other adult in this house. And then I will just attach a little sticky note or some painter's tape with the date that I think we last used it. And if Weston was gonna use this, he would say, what is this? And that would indicate to me, oh, he's using that pan. But now that I'm going through and decluttering, I see that we haven't used it since at least September of last year. And when I look at this first Messy to Minimal episode that I made, the number of pots and pans that I was holding on to was way more than our family actually used. I thought, oh my gosh, what if comes a time when I need this or I'm cooking for extra people? And I will say with like our simplified lowered inventory, there has been the very rare moment where I've gone, oh shoot, I wish I had this or that. And it's actually an easy sort of problem to get over and to troubleshoot and to move on from. And it's so not worth it for me personally. This is gonna be different for everyone and depending on your stage of life, but it's not worth it for me to store extra things just in case. I could have saved myself so much storage space in that big corner Lazy Susan cabinet that we had by not keeping all of those pots and pans in every single lid. If there's a lid size that fits both the large frying pan as well as the large pot, I learned eventually that I actually only need to keep the one lid and free up a lot of room that the extra lids that coordinated with each little piece ended up taking up. So there's just a tip there for you guys. Okay, what do I work on next? Oh, under the sink. I don't wanna. Oh, there's my honey. There it is. Without a doubt, this is the messiest spot in my kitchen. This vase, actually, I have another spot to keep vases, which is a better spot for me. But I don't think I'm actually going to keep this one. I think the reason it's down here is that I actually don't reach for it as often as I reach for the other vases that I have. and I don't need it anymore. So that can go. I'm just gonna make my way through the rest of what's under here and see if I can find other stuff that needs to go and straighten this up a little bit. Okay, definitely a few minutes well spent. It's so much better under here now. And unlike what it looked like in that first video, every single product that I have under here is something that I use almost daily. And man, I'm looking at this pile of stuff that I got rid of. So many products and bottles of stuff that I just wasn't using. And then also under the sink, what I chose to keep was a lot of like the back stock and the extras that I had. I do like to keep some things like that just so that I don't have to go out. Traveling to the nearest Target or whatever is quite the drive for us from where we live. And so having that stock up and that supply is a good idea for us, but I just don't keep it under the sink. And I didn't have to keep it under the sink in our last house, even though that home was smaller. And eventually I did put together a system in our garage and our utility room where I did have our back stock of stuff like that. So my pile this time around definitely is a bit smaller. And this is kind of like that stuff that I was doing in the like supplements and coffee cabinet, empty bottles that I just have been too lazy to grab and like actually process or throw away or recycle. So, and then a couple of vases that I don't need down here anymore. So that looks so much better. Okay, just a couple of spots left to tackle. This is our everyday cabinet. We've got the glass front on it, which actually helps keep me motivated to keep it tidy because it's the only cabinet that you can actually see into. That is by design. I love it. I love how it keeps me accountable, and right now it's kind of screaming at me. So I'm gonna go through our everyday plates and bowls and cups and mugs. Loud children in the background. I love the Duralex brand of glassware. And these we've had since the year the boys were born. They literally are indestructible. However, we never reach for this smaller size. These are the uni tumblers. We always reach for the bigger ones. So I'm keeping the 4 big ones that we have, and I am actually going to pass along, I think these, yeah, 6. Literally never use these. So it's time. These are beautiful. I'm gonna offer them to my sisters. A lot of what was in this cabinet, cluttering it up, typical culprit during this time of the year after the holidays. I love having holiday specific mugs. We have one for each member of our family. And so these, I'm not gonna donate them. We're not ready to pass them on. Sometimes decluttering is like rehoming something. So these are gonna be rehomed into my Christmas tote. And actually all the Christmas decor and stuff is coming down tomorrow, and I will actually be sharing that in next week's video, along with my focaccia bread recipe that right now is proofing in my bowl there. I realize I need to hide away my Ninja Blender base. Weston left that out last night after he made himself a smoothie, which is okay. It's easy to put away. This is how we deal with like countertop small appliances. The only appliances we really have right now, other than my stand mixer and my espresso machine that I do keep out on the counter, is our Ninja Blender, which is a large size like Vitamix style blender, a personal single serving blender, as well as a food processor. It's a 3-in-1, but only takes up as much space as one. Rice cooker with its steamer pot, and then our daily little toaster oven. And I don't want to say goodbye to anything that's in there, so we're good. And on to the utensil drawer, which I am happy to report is in a much better state than what we saw in that video. But I'm going to be making a change here. And I'll explain that to you guys in a voiceover while I do some decluttering. This time last year, I was on the quest to find the perfect high quality set of black flatware. I asked you guys for recommendations. I've seriously read thousands of reviews for hundreds of different sets, and they all pretty much say the same thing, and this has been my experience too with this set that we ended up going with. The black just eventually chips, and I'm not gonna hand wash every little thing. Mamas ain't got time for that, and this set has really just not held up. And I am no longer willing to let my family eat off of paint chipping off of their forks and spoons. So the set of flatware that we own that I actually really do love and has stood the test of time is our gold flatware that we use for the holidays. I have several sets of that to be able to accommodate the guests that we have over. And so I figured rather than go out and try to find something new, I'm just gonna use what I already have and put enough for our family's daily use in our flatware drawer here. And then when we do have more guests over, I will grab from our larger collection and go from there. You should hear the oohs and ahs that the kids made the first time that they discovered that there was gold flatware in these drawers after I was done with this project. All three of them, actually Weston too, all four of them, when they opened the drawer, they went, ooh, shiny, or something like that. It was really sweet. So I think this was a good move. It feels so nice to have these pretty, shiny, gold flatware in here. These are just absolutely beautiful. They've held up so well for us. And now we get to use them for every meal of the day. I can feel like a fancy lady even when I'm eating ramen or cereal and milk. Isn't that what it's all about? Life is too short to not eat off of the good china. Now, 3 years after starting this journey toward being more simplified and more minimal in my home, this sort of project goes so fast for me. I have been in this kitchen less than 2 hours, and it would be cut in half if I wasn't chatting with you on the camera or, you know, adjusting my tripod and grabbing new batteries and stuff like that. It always takes me a little bit longer to do stuff when I am filming it, but that is just to share with you guys that it gets easier. It goes faster. These decluttering muscles get developed. You practice this skill of simplifying and editing and making these decisions. And I feel so much better having this project done and being able to reflect on the last few years of the evolution of my kitchen, the evolution of my mindset and my approach and how I go about things. When I watch that video, I see things in there that are very much still the same. I am still me. I feel like that is a fear that some people have. A fear that I actually had that I've not talked about before is like losing myself in the process. And if I get rid of things that are dear to me, like the stupid glasses that I bought the year the boys were born, that somehow I'm letting go of my heart or my personality or my history by saying goodbye and clearing those things out. And that simply has just not been the case for me. And so that's part of what makes it easier, is knowing that I'm safe and knowing that it's okay to move on from things that are no longer serving me. Like that nice fry pan over there, which I need to add to this box. Here is said box. This is what I'm able to donate. I'm actually gonna wash this up a bit before I pass it on to a sister, but there are some of the things that are gonna go. I also have this trash bag that's full of the stuff that's not good enough to donate. I took some recycling out already. Definitely a smaller pile or quantity of stuff that I'm getting rid of this time around, but that's just where I'm at. It's gonna look different for everyone in different stages of life. The next time I declutter my kitchen, there might be more, but that's where we're at today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to reflect back, to react to that old video, to kind of follow it as a template for the order of which I decluttered this kitchen. You might be wondering, well, there's other cabinets and stuff that you didn't show us. Stay tuned, because the cabinets I didn't show you this time around are like food storage or pantry storage that we have in the kitchen that we didn't have in our old kitchen. And so I'm keeping that, saving that portion for when I declutter my pantry and follow my first pantry decluttering video in my Messy to Minimal series. So I would love to see you back for that, as well as any other video that I post. Stay tuned. Next week, we're gonna do a reset around here. I'm gonna take you around for a day in my life, share that focaccia bread recipe with you. You might get to say hi to the kids or to Weston. We'll see what that day holds. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. Thanks so much for spending a little part of your day here with me on my channel, and I'll catch you later.